Hello everybody, this is Brother Deron from Red House Baptist Church. Just want to come and give a little update and also have the opportunity to remind you that we are having church in person at 10:45, and we have several Sunday schools, not all of them, but a few of them are open at 9:15, and we have something for the children, for preschool. And for adults, we've got 3 or 4 classes meeting, one class in the gym where people are spread out 6 feet apart. And it's a great place if you're a visitor, you want to come visit, just ask for the gym. You can't miss it. And we had wonderful Sunday school teachers that are rotating in and out of that class. And so I want to encourage you to be a part of that. Again, live worship, 10:45 Sunday mornings. And we do a recap on Sunday evenings. And if you want to get your kids involved with Bible buddies, with scripture memory and what they do in the sword drills, really encourage you to get with Miss Linda Coulter, our children's director. She does a great job providing ministries and helping our kids and equipping them in scripture memory. So excited there. And don't forget, if you have youth at college, Brother Dwayne does a great job in providing the Wednesday night service at 6 o'clock for our youth and the praise band, and then Sunday school on Sunday mornings at 9:15. Well, we're delighted today to be thinking. I've been thinking about the Psalms and been thinking about what a rough year 2020 was, and we're off to a little bit of a rough start in 2021, but we need to look to God. We need to look to God as our source of strength, our source of comfort, our refuge in the time of storms, and that's why I've been preaching through this series on finding shelter in the shadow of the Almighty. Now, today, I have an opportunity to visit with one of our brand new, she's our newest member, actually. She interviewed with her earlier this week, and she is a candidate for a membership. She'll be coming by transfer of letter and statement of faith from another church. But this is Miss Pamela Campbell. And Miss Pamela, say hi.
Hello.
Now, you shared with us and you shared with me, and there's lots of things, and I know we just got like 20 minutes, but you have an amazing testimony that you shared with me, and I want you to share all of that as we go. But just by way of reminder, so you were saved and baptized when you were in 5th grade at Blackwater Baptist Church in Jackson County, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
That's correct. So you know the Lord. You identified with Him and His church through the sacrament of baptism, His death, burial, resurrection. And so that's incredible that you have a testimony that you've known the Lord. And you also shared with me that God has had a purpose and a plan for your life. And I have known you through Miss Linda in our staff meetings. And she's been a great advocate for you. I don't know if you knew that or not, but in our staff meetings, she has constantly brought you to mind, hasn't she, Shama? We got to pray for a young mom, and she's got cancer, and we got to pray for this. And so I was very interested to find out how you were doing. And then when I had the opportunity to talk to you the other day about church membership, to hear a little more of your story, and I just got to say, you really are flesh and blood example of what I'm trying to say, and that is, when we go through difficulties in life, God is the only source of our hope and the only source that we have to go to be safe and to trust Him. So I'm going to read a verse of Scripture, and I want you to share your story with us, okay?
Okay.
And we're delighted to have you as a new member, and you can just pick up from the beginning, your story about your mom. But when I heard your story on the phone, and I was praying about this little conversation we're having right now, and I was thinking about how this fits into this sermon series on finding shelter in the shadow of the Almighty. Psalms 57, 1 and 2, I thought fit you perfectly. It says, "Be gracious to me, O God, be gracious to me, for I take refuge in you. I seek refuge in the shadow of your wings until the danger passes. I call to God Most High, to God who fulfills His purpose for me." And you said something the other day that I think is going to be the springboard for your testimony, that from the very, very beginning, at your birth, just tell everybody. I mean, God has been looking out for you from the very beginning. Share with us, if you would, how you know that and a little bit of your testimony.
My mom was 16, almost 17, when she had me. And her and my dad, they were young married couple living in Jackson County, so it's about an hour to get to Richmond for a hospital. It's in December. She was in labor and went to the hospital, and the doctor said, "No, you're not in labor. You're not in labor. You're young. You don't understand," and sent her home. So they went back to Jackson County, an hour away, and to my grandmother's house. And my mom trusted the doctors, and she had stomach cramps, so she went to the bathroom and had me in the bathroom and thought I was dead. And my grandmother came in and got me, and I survived. I was a little bit premature, but in the beginning the doctors told her, "Oh, well, she's going to have be mentally retarded." Yes. Wow. And will never walk. I've never had any type of mental learning disabilities of any kind. I've always walked. I've had many knee surgeries, and I can remember as a child, 5-6 years old, I had to go to I called it the talking tree store, because my feet were turned in, and I had to wear special shoes. But the great thing also about my parents is they never treated me any differently, so I didn't really realize the extent of what was going on. But my knees were turned around. They were in the back, completely turned around. And then growing up as an adult, I went to Shriners every year.
Okay.
And then aged out at 21 and went to, I can remember being a college student at Morehead State.
Okay.
And my knees started bothering me, so I went in and had x-rays, and they looked at me and said, "Well, I don't know how you walked in here." And it was just, it was devastating as a young person to say, "Well, I am walking." And so I don't go to normal physicians for any type of bone ailments. And then I got older, and the bone ailments that I have loose ligaments.
Okay.
So they said, "Well, you'll never walk," and I did.
Okay, that's a miracle.
You'll have mental handicaps. I didn't. They said, "You'll never be able to have children," and I have 2.
Wow.
I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Wonderful.
And then now I'm here.
So, you got so many different aspects to your testimony. That's we spend a lot of time on different things. Share with us those who are watching, because we forget sometimes how God uses us in our daily lives, in our daily jobs. You went through a little bit of a crisis with one of your children, and you said one of the ambulance drivers made an impact on you, and that's how you wound up. Just share what happened real briefly and how you came to Red House.
When I had Vincent, my 5-year-old, we were at Baptist Health Richmond.
Okay.
And he had a little whistle. He sounded like a little bird. He just whistled a little bit. And they said, "Well, that's okay. Sometimes that happens." And then in the middle of the night, his oxygen started going down, and they took him to the with the babies and out of the room with me. Well, and become the early morning, his lung had collapsed, and he had to be intubated. So they do not have a NICU here in Richmond. He had to be transported in an ambulance to UK. I had to go in a separate ambulance, not with my baby.
Because of COVID, or why?
No, because he went to UK. I was not a patient there.
Okay.
And I had a C-section, so I still needed to be in a hospital, but they didn't have to take me.
How long ago was this? A year, 2 years?
5
years ago. Okay. I'm getting my timeline right.
Yes. And so they didn't have to take me, but they did. They
Okay.
found a bed for me,
Okay.
and I went in a separate ambulance. And I
Gotcha.
was inconsolable. I was just weeping, so upset.
So you didn't know, you were scared, your emotions were all over the place.
Yes.
Okay.
And the EMT who rode in the back with me all the way to the hospital, and I'm this sobbing, uncontrollable mess. And he shared with me. He said that he had 2 children that were in the NICU, and all of his his faith in God. And he said, "You will come through this. Your son will come through this, and if you get a chance, I'd like you to come visit at Red House Baptist Church."
And he's a real big guy.
Yes.
It must be Dennis. So that's what put a seed in your mind about Red House Baptist Church.
Yes.
Okay. And then your baby turned out being okay?
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Wonderful.
We were in the hospital for, I think, 6-7 days,
Okay.
and he didn't get any worse. He was
Wonderful.
fine. He came through it.
Okay. So God being gracious to you, and I've been thinking about this verse, God being gracious to you, God being one that you could, so you took his words, he said, God will get you through this. You took that to heart, evidently.
Yes.
And then those words came back to you, and you wound up coming and visiting Red House.
I did.
I guess it was about a year ago. 10 months, a year. You said it's before COVID.
Yes, it was before COVID.
Okay.
And my son, I knew when my children were born, I wanted them to be in church.
Okay.
And he went to Vacation Bible School here.
Here at Red House. Okay.
And he really liked it. So I was able to get him here.
Wonderful.
And then we started to visiting here. And then
Okay.
COVID hit.
Wow. Now, for those who don't know, Linda shared with us when we were praying for you specifically and your cancer. You developed breast cancer. When did that happen?
I was diagnosed on June 29th of 2020.
2020? So just this past June.
Yes.
During COVID.
During COVID, yes.
Man, 2020 was a rough year on you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So during COVID, you're diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
My goodness. Okay. But in the midst of this, okay, how did God show himself faithful, and what did he do? Because you told me that some things happened quickly that maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And COVID may have even helped you get stuff done quicker. Is that true, or am I reading into it?
COVID did not help me get things done quicker.
Because, okay, walk me through it so I don't mess up.
Because of COVID, the shutdown, I was not able to get a mammogram, and I could have been diagnosed 3 months earlier if they hadn't shut down.
Okay.
But when everything opened back up, the day I went in, they said, "Oh, well, you need to come in and have an ultrasound." So it's like on a Thursday, Friday. Well, they had me in on Monday, and they said, "Well, you have cancer. You need to get in for a biopsy this week." And it was amazing. It was just the hand of, I know it was the hand of God, because everything happened so quickly. Even women in my support group and women that I've talked to, everything just went so quick for me. And I had the results the next Tuesday. I was in there and met with my oncologist. I had a woman in the surgery center advocating for me, calling in favors to get me in quickly.
Wow.
And they removed the tumor.
Okay.
And didn't get clear margins.
Okay.
So they went back in. And I had to see the oncologist for the first time. And he sat me down and he said, "I can't treat you until you make a decision this day, if you're going to have another lumpectomy because you didn't get clear margins, or a mastectomy or a bilateral mastectomy."
And you had to decide right then.
I had to decide right then.
Wow. So what did you decide?
I decided to do the bilateral mastectomy,
Okay.
and that turned out to be a blessing as well, because when I did the bilateral mastectomy, they found more cancer that had not shown up in the initial lumpectomy.
Wow. There's such a thing as common grace, and what I just hear in your testimony, I mean, from your birth through your life, God's shadow has been over you, and you've been experiencing His favor and His common grace throughout many of these difficult times. And are you still going through treatments now?
I am. I just finished chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I had 8 rounds of aggressive chemotherapy, and today I had radiation planning. I start radiation on Monday, and we'll have 33 to 39 rounds of radiation Monday through Friday.
Wow. So if you want to add Miss Pamela Campbell to your prayer list, I'm sure she would appreciate that. And I understand that you have visited a Sunday school class. I know you've been very cautious because, and you need to be very cautious. But we're so glad that you have ventured out, and I've seen you a couple of Sunday nights, I think. And but I just want you to know that we're delighted that you are a part of our church. You've been part of the women's study here on Wednesday nights. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And has that been helpful or blessing?
It is such a blessing.
I mean, would you, if there's a lady watching this that's not attending a women's Bible study at 6 o'clock, what would you say would be the benefit of coming?
I would encourage you so much to show up, because it's such a wonderful group of women, and everyone will share their story, and I have been able to relate to every woman in there.
It's great. So that's from 6 to 7 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and so I'm so glad you're connecting with people. And a lot of times churches get a bad rap, and I heard a statistic yesterday. It really crushed me. It said upwards of 37% of people who were attending church before COVID aren't going to come back because they've gotten out of the habit. They've decided it's not as important as they thought it was, or they can watch it online if and when they want. But connecting with people, actually having somebody to see face to face, actually hearing someone pray for you, that's got to be supportive to you and helpful.
That is extremely supportive, and that's one of the reasons that I felt led to be a member here.
Okay.
Because from the very first time that I came through the door, I have never entered this church and not been welcome and just said hello, or someone turn around and say, hi, nice to meet you, or would you like to come to this Bible study or this prayer group session? Everybody is wonderful and friendly.
I don't know who's going to be watching this podcast, but I know this. I know that we live in a day and age where, because we've had to be shut down, because school is out of whack, families are stressed, marriages are stressed, children are stressed, people have stress because of finances. Some have stress because of medical issues. But the scriptures tell us that the answer to our anxiety is trusting in God. And is there a verse, a thought, a word of encouragement you'd give to someone watching this that maybe feel like they're at the end of their rope, or they don't know if they can take it anymore, or they just need to hear a word of encouragement? Because I'm being honest, a lot of people will be hearing your testimony today and you should have died at birth. Being born into, a teenage mom. She basically had you right there in the bathroom, thought you were dead, left you. So God's purpose, it says, my God, Most High, will fulfill His purpose for me. And you told me the other day that you knew that God had a purpose for you, or you wouldn't have lived at all. And you've survived many different things. But if there's someone that's watching this, they just need to hear a word of encouragement from somebody who's going through rough time, has survived rough times. What would you say to them?
I would say that this too shall pass. It will. And just put your faith in God, because when I was diagnosed with cancer, they want you to go and talk with a counselor or find a support group. And you do have anxiety, but I have not found any better relief for my anxiety than coming to church and doing the Bible study. The Wednesday night Bible study has been a miracle worker with my anxiety with cancer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love this whole Psalm 57. It says he reaches down from heaven in verse 3. He reaches down from heaven and he saves me. He challenges one who would seek to trample me. And I tell my friends and my kids all the time that it's the devil that comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But Jesus, man, he's the one who saves and gives us life. This text also says in Psalm 57 that God will send his faithful love and truth. He will send his faithful love and truth. And though I feel like I'm surrounded by lions, my heart will be confident in my God, and my heart will be confident and sing. I will sing his praises. Awake, awake, my soul. Wake up with a harp and the lyre. I will wake up to the Lord. I will praise you in the midst of your people. I will sing praises to you. And that's one of the things that your testimony does, is it brings praise, honor, and glory to God. You know, and we're not promised another day, but every day we have is a gift from him. And so I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being willing to share your story. And you've got 2 children again, their names and ages?
Vincent is 5,
okay.
And Scarlett is 2.
Okay. And your husband's name is?
Matthew.
Well, we want to pray for you as a family, and I know that you're joining by yourself at this time. And I just want to say, you know, one of the benefits of being a part of a church family is meeting people, connecting with people, worshiping with people, having people come alongside you and help you bear your burdens. And I'm grateful for Miss Linda on our staff for the way she has, you just connected to her in a special way, because she's brought you up every staff meeting. And so that's special. And I just want you to understand that God's grace towards you will be all that you need at every given time. When he says, my grace is sufficient, some days you'll need it more than others. But whatever you need that day, it will be sufficient for that day. It will. Well, listen, thank you for your coming in, and thank you for sharing your story with us. You said that one of the things that's got you through this is what that comment you just made, this too shall pass. And it doesn't matter what we're going through. God will see us through the other end, won't he?
Yes.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you again, and I want to thank Shama for putting this together. And I pray that these little podcasts will be an encouragement to you. I pray that you will realize that our only confidence really is in the Lord. People let us down, but the Lord will never let us down. We got a good friend, Sammy Agee, is in surgery right now, and I just got word that his liver transplant, that they are sewing him up over the course of the next hour. And so God's hand is at work in so many different people's lives. That's an answer to prayer, that he was able to receive this transplant, the 4th try. And so we just want to continue to think about him. And as a church family, please stay connected in a small group Bible study, whether it be like a women's group on the Wednesday night, whether it be your Sunday school class. Stay connected with your church people, your friends. Pray for one another. Meet each other's needs. If there's someone that needs a meal, take upon yourself to get them a meal and take it to the house, or call the church. But let's try to be there for each other. If you have an upcoming surgery, don't assume that we know at the church. Please call and let the church office know that we can put you on our prayer sheet. And let's be the hands and feet of Jesus. And we're gonna come through this all right. So God bless you. Thank you for being a part. Hopefully we'll see you either live and in person this Sunday, or you can stream us on your devices. But I pray you have a wonderful day. And remember, we can find refuge in the shadow of the Almighty.